What if you could influence anyone without them even knowing it? What if your words could move minds? What if your presence could shift a room before you even spoke? This is not a trick. It is not magic. It is psychological influence. And it is real. Every day, people are making decisions. What to buy, who to trust, what to believe. But behind those choices, someone is pulling strings. It might be an ad, a leader, a partner, or maybe you. Today, you are going to learn how influence really works. Not the surface level tips, but the deep psychology that shapes behavior. Once you master it, you will never see people the same way again. And they will never see you the same either. If you are ready to master the art of influence and lead with power, like this video, subscribe to this channel and share it with someone who is ready to take control of their life. Section 1. The hidden power of psychological influence. What if I told you that most of your decisions are not truly yours? What if someone else, unseen and unheard, was guiding your actions? Not through force, but through subtle influence. The kind that slips past logic, that whispers to your emotions, that shapes your choices before you even know you made them. Welcome to the world of psychological influence. This is the art of shaping thought, of guiding behavior, without control, without pressure, without even being noticed. It begins in the subconscious. This is where the true power lives. Now take a breath. Slow down. Let this truth settle, because what you are about to learn is not just information. It is transformation. Every day, you are being influenced by colors, sounds, ads, voices, smells, by strangers and friends, by what you see and what you feel, even by what you do not notice. It does not matter how smart you are or how strong your will is. Influence does not need permission, because it does not knock on your front door. It finds its way in through the back. It flows under the surface. It speaks to the brain in a language you do not consciously understand. This is not magic. This is psychology. The subconscious mind is always awake. It works even when you are distracted. It learns even when you are tired. It stores every experience, every emotion, every story, and it uses that data to keep you safe. But here is the twist. The very part of the brain that keeps you safe can also be used to guide you, to lead you, to push you, or to pull you in a direction you never chose. Let me give you an example. Imagine you meet someone for the first time. Before they speak a single word, your mind has already judged them. You do not realize it, but their posture, their tone, their eyes, their clothes, all of it sends signals. Your brain matches these signals with memories, stories, patterns. It decides in a flash, trust or fear, like or dislike, safe or unsafe. And you think, I just have a feeling about this person. That is not a feeling. That is influence. Another example. You walk into a store. There is soft music playing, the scent of lavender in the air. A product is placed on a velvet display. There is a warm spotlight on it. You feel drawn to it. You think, wow, this looks great. But your logic did not choose it. Your subconscious did. Because marketers know what speaks to your brain. They use color psychology. They use sound cues. They use scent, space, light, and texture. They create an emotional map that leads you right to the product. You feel like you made the decision, but the decision was made for you long before you reached out your hand. And this is just the beginning. There is something called priming. It means preparing the mind with subtle hints. Say you see the word elderly, wrinkle, or gray again and again. Without even knowing why, Your body may slow down. You may walk more gently, more carefully, not because you are old, but because your brain linked those ideas with a way of moving. This happens all the time. In politics, in branding, in relationships, in leadership, the people who repeat key ideas, like hope, fear, power, or change, are planting seeds. They are shaping the field before they plant the message. And once your mind accepts the soil, the message grows roots. Then comes anchoring. This is when the first piece of information becomes the standard. You are shown a luxury watch for $10,000. Then you see another for $2,000. Now that second watch feels cheap, even if it is still expensive. That is the anchor effect. It sets the frame. It changes your sense of value. Anchors are used in sales, in debates, in leadership. The person who speaks first often controls the conversation. Then there is repetition. The more often you hear something, the more real it feels. Even if it is not true, the brain thinks, I have seen this before. It must be familiar. It must be safe. That is why politicians repeat slogans. That is why brands repeat ads. That is why you hear the same song again and again on the radio. Familiarity becomes truth. And once something feels true, it is almost impossible to unsee. But here is the question. Now that you know this, what will you do with it? Will you be a passive observer, or will you step into the arena? Because the art of influence is not just about defense. It is about power. It is about learning how to guide without control, to lead without force, to shape reality through presence, tone, timing, and trust. When you understand these triggers, priming, anchoring, repetition, you begin to see the game. You begin to play it. You begin to master it. This is your first step. Master the hidden power of influence, and you will never see the world the same again. Section 3. Understanding the human mind. Imagine stepping into a room where every person makes choices they believe are logical, but behind those decisions lies something invisible, something deep, something powerful. That something is the human mind. To truly master psychological influence, you must first understand how the human brain actually works. Not how we wish it worked, rational, thoughtful, logical, but how it really works. It is messy, emotional, full of shortcuts, and most importantly, it is constantly being influenced, whether we see it or not. The mind is not a straight road. It is a maze, a labyrinth. It is shaped by evolution, memory, emotion, and habit. Every reaction, every decision, every snap judgment is shaped by layers we do not always see. Take this in. Over 90% of what your brain does is subconscious. That means most of your decisions are made before you even realize it. You think you are choosing, but often your brain is reacting. That is why influence works best not through pressure, but through subtlety. Let us talk about this. The subconscious mind is like the silent driver. You think you are at the wheel, but beneath the surface, something else is steering. This is where influence lives, in symbols, in patterns, in emotional signals that fly below awareness. Think of a red sale sign. Your mind sees it, and you suddenly feel urgency. You did not choose to feel that way. It just happened. Or imagine meeting someone for the first time. Within seconds, your brain has judged them. Friendly or not, trustworthy or suspicious. Even if you do not know why, you already feel it. This is subconscious pattern recognition. It helps us move fast in a world full of choices. But it also leaves us open, wide open, to influence. Now picture this. In a study, people read words related to old age like wrinkle, gray, And retirement, just words. But after reading them, they walked slower. They were not told to act old, but their mind was already acting old. That is priming, one of the many ways our subconscious reacts to signals we barely notice. Colors do this too. Red means urgency. Blue means trust. Brands know this. They use colors, music, and even smell to shape how we feel and how we act. Now, why is this important for you? Because if you want to influence others, you must speak the mind's language. Not just words, but emotions, triggers, associations. If you know what makes someone feel safe, inspired, or curious, you can guide their behavior. Not by force, but by flow. Let us break it down even further. The mind uses shortcuts called heuristics. These shortcuts help us make decisions fast, but they can also fool us. One example, the anchoring effect. Show someone an expensive watch first, say $10,000. Then show them a cheaper one, $2,000. Suddenly, the second one feels like a good deal, even if it is still expensive. That first price, the anchor, set the tone. Another example, confirmation bias. People naturally seek information that agrees with what they already believe. So, if you want to persuade someone, do not fight their belief. Work with it. Show them how your idea fits what they already feel is true. They will welcome it, not resist it. And here is something even deeper. Social proof. People follow people. If we see others liking, sharing, or doing something, our mind tells us this must be right. That is why reviews matter. Why likes matter? Because your mind trusts the crowd more than it trusts cold facts. This is not weakness. It is wiring. So what does this mean for influence? It means the path to changing minds is not through debate. It is through design. You design environments. You design conversations. You plant ideas. You guide emotions. You do not push. You lead. That is the real power of psychological influence. It is not loud. It is not obvious. It is quiet, gentle, and it works below the surface. Influence is not about control. It is about understanding. It is about aligning your message with how people already think, feel, and process the world. When you do that, resistance melts, trust grows, and change begins. This is why understanding the mind is step one. Without it, influence is guesswork. With it, influence becomes art. So remember this, every mind is shaped by emotion, experience, and hidden triggers. If you can see what others do not, you can influence what others cannot. And now, with that understanding in hand, let us move deeper, because knowing how the mind works is only the beginning. To truly master influence, you must learn the tools that guide it. Section 3, the science of persuasion. Persuasion is not pressure. It is precision. What makes someone say yes? Not by accident, but by design. The answer lies in the science of persuasion. For years, researchers have studied human behavior, and they found something powerful. There are 6 invisible rules that guide how people respond to influence. These 6 principles were introduced by Dr. Robert Cialdini. Each one taps into our natural instincts. Let us begin with the first, reciprocity. When someone gives us something, we feel we should give back. It is not taught. It is automatic. If a stranger gives you a gift, you feel a pull to return the favor. Salespeople use this all the time. They offer free samples, a free trial, a helpful tip. Why? Because the moment you accept, your brain says, now it is your turn. Second comes commitment and consistency. People want to act in ways that match their past words. Once someone says yes to something small, they are more likely to say yes again. It is like stepping onto a path. One small step leads to another. This is why businesses ask for small commitments first. A sign-up, a free plan, a trial, then the larger offer follows. And it feels natural to agree. Why? Because your brain wants to stay consistent with your earlier choice. Now, the third principle, social proof. People look to others to decide what is right. Think of reviews online. The more people who love a product, the more others want it. This is why businesses show how many customers they have. Over 1 million sold. Top rated by thousands. When people see the crowd, they feel safe following it, especially when they are unsure. Then comes authority. People listen to those they see as experts. A doctor, a professor, a leader. We trust them, even without knowing the full facts. This is why marketers use experts in ads. A person in a lab coat, a well-known speaker. Credentials matter. Titles matter. Even posture, tone, and dress can signal authority. And when we see authority, we follow. It feels right. The fifth principle is liking. We say yes to people we like. It is that simple. If someone seems friendly, warm, or similar to us, we listen. That is why people mirror others in conversations. Why they build rapport before making a request. Compliments work. Shared stories work. Common ground builds connection. And connection builds persuasion. Lastly, scarcity. If something feels rare, we want it more. Only 3 left. Offer ends soon. This triggers fear of missing out. FOMO is not just a trend. It is ancient. It is in our DNA. In early times, missing a chance could mean losing food or shelter. Today, it means missing a deal, an opportunity, or a status symbol. So when something seems limited, our minds rush to grab it. Each of these 6 principles works alone, but together they are powerful. They influence behavior quietly, softly. They guide without forcing. That is the magic. But there is a warning. Persuasion is not manipulation. It must be used with care. When these tools are misused, they become weapons. They can damage trust. And once trust is broken, persuasion no longer works. There is a fine line between guiding someone and tricking them. True persuasion helps someone choose what is good for them and for you. That is why precision matters more than pressure. You do not need to push hard. You need to know where to touch and when. In the end, persuasion is a mirror. It reflects back what someone already believes, hopes, or fears. You are not changing their mind. You are guiding it. You are helping their own thoughts take shape. So next time you want someone to say yes, do not shout. Do not beg. Use the science. Use the subtle art. Use the precision. Because persuasion is not about control. It is about connection. And connection is where real influence begins. Section 4. Emotional triggers that drive action. Emotions are the engines of human behavior. They move us. They shape what we buy, what we believe, and who we follow. Behind every big decision is a powerful feeling. Fear, desire, trust, urgency, nostalgia. These are not just words. They are the hidden switches inside the mind. Let us begin with fear. Fear is the most primal emotion. It kept early humans alive. It made them run, hide, and fight to survive. Today, we are no longer running from wild animals, but our brains still respond the same way. We fear loss. We fear rejection. We fear being left behind. Smart marketers and politicians use fear to great effect. A political ad shows chaos, then offers one leader who promises peace. An insurance company shows disaster, then offers protection, but only if you act now. Fear shuts down logic. It makes the brain seek safety, not facts. It triggers fast action. That is why it works so well. But fear must be paired with relief. If the fear is too strong, people freeze. The key is to show a danger, then offer a clear way out. Next comes desire, where fear pushes us away from pain. Desire pulls us toward pleasure. Humans are wired to want more. More success, more love, more status, more happiness. Luxury brands sell more than products. They sell a feeling, a vision of what life could be, not what it is, what it could become. A man buys a watch, not to tell time, but to feel successful. A woman buys a dress, not just to wear it, but to feel admired. Desire is powerful because it whispers, "This could be you," and that whisper is hard to resist. Another strong trigger is urgency. Urgency is the fear of missing out, also known as FOMO, limited time, only a few left, offer ends today. These phrases light up the brain. They make people act fast, not because they truly need the item, but because they fear regret. This works because of a principle called loss aversion. We feel loss twice as strongly as we feel gain. Losing $50 hurts more than gaining $50 feels good. So when an offer seems to be slipping away, we panic, we rush, we buy, we comply. But again, urgency must be used wisely. Fake urgency backfires. Real scarcity works because it feels honest. People can sense manipulation. Next is trust. Trust is the foundation of every influence. You can offer the best deal in the world, but if people do not trust you, they will say no. How do you build trust? With consistency, with credibility, with authenticity. People believe those who seem real, those who show up again and again, those who say what they mean and mean what they say. Authority adds weight. If a doctor speaks, we listen. If a stranger speaks, we question. That is the power of perceived expertise. Now, let us talk about nostalgia. Nostalgia is the emotion of memory. It makes people feel safe, warm, and seen. Old songs, old brands, childhood images, all of them bring back simpler times. A marketer who shows a vintage Coca-Cola bottle knows this. They are not selling soda. They are selling memories. Nostalgia creates a bond between the message and the mind. It disarms logic. It softens resistance. It brings trust through emotion. Lastly, let us talk about storytelling. Stories are the most powerful delivery system for emotions. Facts speak to the brain. Stories speak to the heart. A story about data is cold. A story about a child saved by that data, that moves people. We remember stories. We feel them. We see ourselves inside them. Think of how ads tell stories. A person struggles, then finds a solution. We follow the journey, and we buy the feeling. Emotions connect us. They bypass analysis. They go straight to the core. Whether it is a speech, a product, or a simple request, use emotion. Do not just tell people what to do. Make them feel why they should do it. Remember this: people may forget your words, but they will not forget how you made them feel. Section 5. The Psychology of Framing and Language, 700 words. How words shape thought, influence perception, and guide behavior. Imagine two doctors explaining a surgery. One says there is a 90% survival rate. The other says there is a 10% chance of death. Both are speaking the truth, but the impact of their words is completely different. This is the power of framing. Framing is not lying. It is not manipulation. It is understanding that reality is not fixed. It is shaped by how it is presented. Human beings do not see the world as it is. They see it through filters of fear, experience, culture, and context. That is why language is not just communication. It is control. The words you use change what people hear, and what people hear shapes what they believe. That belief drives their emotions. Those emotions lead to action. So, if you want to be a master of persuasion, you must first master how to frame. Start with emotion. Always. Emotions are faster than logic. Before the brain thinks, it feels. A well-placed word can ignite hope or fear, joy or shame, curiosity or anger. When leaders say war on terror, instead of military invasion, they frame action as protection, not aggression. When brands say eco-conscious, instead of expensive, they frame cost as a noble choice. This is not accidental. It is intentional. That is influence. Marketers use it. Politicians rely on it. Storytellers live by it. Consider the phrase job cuts. Harsh, cold, negative. Now reframe it, streamlining operations. Softer, strategic, even intelligent. The facts have not changed. Only the emotional reaction has. That is the invisible art of linguistic influence. Every word you speak can either open the door or close it. Let us look deeper. The human mind sorts the world by patterns, and patterns are guided by contrast. If I show you a $2,000 watch next to a $200 one, the second feels affordable. But if I show you only the $200 watch, it may feel expensive. The object is the same. The experience is different. This is contrast framing. It makes the average seem good, the good seem great, and the bad seem unbearable. Skilled influencers guide perception by controlling comparison. Now think about priming. Priming is subtle. It works beneath the surface. If you hear words like elderly, wrinkled, and slow, your brain starts to act slower, even if you do not realize it. Studies prove this. Language activates expectation. Expectation shapes reaction. A politician who repeats the word security 5 times primes your mind for fear, even before they mention the problem. A sales page that shows limited time primes your mind for urgency, even if the deadline is not real. Priming shapes the room before the conversation begins. Another powerful concept is anchoring. If I tell you a car is worth $50,000 and then offer it to you for $35,000, it feels like a deal. But if I started at $35,000, it would not feel special. Why? Because the anchor, the first number, sets the frame. Anchoring works everywhere. In pricing, in salary negotiation, even in personal relationships. If you want to lead, you must choose the first frame. Because once a frame is set, everything else is seen through it. Let us return to language. Words like elite, exclusive, premium, luxury do not describe the product. They shape the perception. They place the item into a mental category of status, a status that commands respect, and often a higher price. On the other hand, words like affordable, simple, value attract those seeking safety and savings. No word is neutral. Every word comes with baggage. This is why political debates are won not by logic, but by labels. One side says illegal aliens. The other says undocumented immigrants. These are not the same. One frames the person as a criminal. The other frames them as someone caught in the system. The battle is not about facts. It is about the story behind the facts. And he who controls the story controls the belief. As you sharpen your skill in persuasion, remember this. You do not need to speak louder to be heard. You just need to speak clearer. You do not need to push harder to be felt. You need to hit the emotional center. So, choose words like a sculptor chooses his tools. With care, with purpose, with precision. Because in the world of influence, the frame is the message. And framing, when done right, does not feel like persuasion. It feels like truth. Section 6, The Power of Social Conditioning, 700 words. How culture, education, and media shape our beliefs, and how to break free. Imagine waking up one day to realize that most of your beliefs are not your own, that the goals you chase, the values you defend, the fears you avoid, are not truly yours. They were given to you, planted in your mind without permission. That is the quiet power of social conditioning. From the moment we are born, we begin to absorb messages from our surroundings. We do not choose them. They are everywhere. In the words our parents speak, in the lessons from school, in the media we consume, and most of all, in the subtle reactions of the people around us. We are taught what is right and wrong, what is good and bad, what is possible, what is not. And through repetition, these ideas become truths. They form the lens through which we see ourselves and the world, a lens we rarely question. This is the invisible force of culture. It tells us how to dress, how to speak, what success looks like. It defines what failure means. It teaches us to dream, but only within the limits of what it allows. The education system plays a central role. Schools are not just about learning facts. They are systems that teach us how to behave, to sit still, to follow orders, to memorize, to obey. Schools reward those who conform and often punish those who question. This builds early patterns. Children quickly learn that asking too many questions can lead to trouble, so they stop asking. They stop thinking deeply, and they begin to accept. Then comes media. Every image, every story, every celebrity, every trend. These are not just entertainment. They are silent teachers. They show us how to look, how to act, what to desire, and what to avoid. Movies glorify beauty, wealth, and dominance. Music celebrates rebellion, but only in ways that sell. News defines what is important and what is not. Social media shows us curated lives that make us feel we are never enough. Over time, this input becomes internal. We no longer see it as external messages. We see it as truth. That is what makes social conditioning so powerful. It does not force. It whispers. It trains you to think you are acting freely, when in truth, you are following a script. We obey not because someone told us to, but because we believe it is right. Peer pressure strengthens this conditioning. As humans, we fear rejection. Belonging to a group was once a matter of life or death. Our ancestors survived by staying close. Being cast out meant danger. That fear still lives in us. So we conform. We copy. We mirror others. Even when we know it is wrong, we do not want to be the outsider. We stay silent. We go along. And often, we live an entire life this way, never realizing we were playing someone else's game. But here is the truth. You are not a passive product of your environment. You are not just a reflection of your culture, your school, your media. You are more than that. You are the editor of your identity. You have the power to question what you were taught. You have the power to decide what stays and what must go. To begin, you must pause. You must observe your own thoughts. Ask, where did this belief come from? Was it from a parent, a teacher, a movie, or fear? Then ask, is it serving me now? If the answer is no, you can change it. You can let it go. This is not easy. It takes courage, because stepping outside of the norm feels dangerous. Your mind will resist. It will warn you. It will try to pull you back into safety. But safety is not freedom. Freedom is being able to choose what you believe. Freedom is thinking your own thoughts. It is living by your own values. To break free, you must expose yourself to new perspectives. Read books that challenge you. Listen to people who think differently. Travel. Reflect. Let your mind stretch. You must also surround yourself with those who support growth. People who ask real questions. People who value truth over comfort. Their energy will fuel your transformation. And most of all, choose what you feed your mind. Be deliberate. What you watch, what you read, what you hear, it all matters. Just as your mind was once programmed, it can be reprogrammed. You are not a prisoner of your past. You are not bound by the scripts you were given. You can rewrite them. The most powerful influencers in history were those who broke the mold, who questioned the rules, who saw the conditioning, and chose something different. You can too. Influence starts with clarity, and clarity begins when you stop living by default. Your mind is powerful. It is time to reclaim it. Section 6. The Power of Social Conditioning, 700 Words. How culture, education, and media shape our beliefs, and how to break free. Imagine waking up one day to realize that most of your beliefs are not your own, that the goals you chase, the values you defend, the fears you avoid, are not truly yours. They were given to you, planted in your mind without permission. That is the quiet power of social conditioning. From the moment we are born, we begin to absorb messages from our surroundings. We do not choose them. They are everywhere. In the words our parents speak, in the lessons from school, in the media we consume, and most of all, in the subtle reactions of the people around us. We are taught what is right and wrong, what is good and bad, what is possible, what is not. And through repetition, these ideas become truths. They form the lens through which we see ourselves and the world, a lens we rarely question. This is the invisible force of culture. It tells us how to dress, how to speak, what success looks like. It defines what failure means. It teaches us to dream, but only within the limits of what it allows. The education system plays a central role. Schools are not just about learning facts. They are systems that teach us how to behave, to sit still, to follow orders, to memorize, to obey. Schools reward those who conform and often punish those who question. This builds early patterns. Children quickly learn that asking too many questions can lead to trouble, so they stop asking. They stop thinking deeply, and they begin to accept. Then comes media. Every image, every story, every celebrity, every trend. These are not just entertainment. They are silent teachers. They show us how to look, how to act, what to desire, and what to avoid. Movies glorify beauty, wealth, and dominance. Music celebrates rebellion, but only in ways that sell. News defines what is important and what is not. Social media shows us curated lives that make us feel we are never enough. Over time, this input becomes internal. We no longer see it as external messages. We see it as truth. That is what makes social conditioning so powerful. It does not force. It whispers. It trains you to think you are acting freely, when in truth, you are following a script. We obey not because someone told us to, but because we believe it is right. Peer pressure strengthens this conditioning. As humans, we fear rejection. Belonging to a group was once a matter of life or death. Our ancestors survived by staying close. Being cast out meant danger. That fear still lives in us. So we conform. We copy. We mirror others. Even when we know it is wrong, we do not want to be the outsider. We stay silent. We go along. And often we live an entire life this way, never realizing we were playing someone else's game. But here is the truth. You are not a passive product of your environment. You are not just a reflection of your culture, your school, your media. You are more than that. You are the editor of your identity. You have the power to question what you were taught. You have the power to decide what stays and what must go. To begin, you must pause. You must observe your own thoughts. Ask, where did this belief come from? Was it from a parent, a teacher, a movie, or fear? Then ask, is it serving me now? If the answer is no, you can change it. You can let it go. This is not easy. It takes courage, because stepping outside of the norm feels dangerous. Your mind will resist. It will warn you. It will try to pull you back into safety. But safety is not freedom. Freedom is being able to choose what you believe. Freedom is thinking your own thoughts. It is living by your own values. To break free, you must expose yourself to new perspectives. Read books that challenge you. Listen to people who think differently. Travel. Reflect. Let your mind stretch. You must also surround yourself with those who support growth. People who ask real questions. People who value truth over comfort. Their energy will fuel your transformation. And most of all, choose what you feed your mind. Be deliberate. What you watch, what you read, what you hear, it all matters. Just as your mind was once programmed, it can be reprogrammed. You are not a prisoner of your past. You are not bound by the scripts you were given. You can rewrite them. The most powerful influencers in history were those who broke the mold, who questioned the rules, who saw the conditioning, and chose something different. You can too. Influence starts with clarity, and clarity begins when you stop living by default. Your mind is powerful. It is time to reclaim it. Section 7. Authority, credibility, and trust. Why do people follow some voices without question? Why does one person's opinion carry more weight than another's? The answer is authority. From childhood, we are taught to respect it. Teachers, parents, police officers, and leaders become figures we listen to. We grow up learning to trust those who seem to know more. And this habit never really leaves us. Authority is not always about control. It is about perceived power. People respond not just to orders, but to the aura behind them. This aura includes voice, posture, title, language, and even appearance. In the 1960s, Stanley Milgram's experiment shocked the world. Participants were told to give electric shocks to others for wrong answers. They did not know the shocks were fake. Yet many continued despite screams because a man in a lab coat told them to. Why? Because he looked official. He sounded confident. He seemed like someone who knew what he was doing. That one symbol, the white lab coat, was enough. It was not about force. It was about trust in perceived expertise. This shows us something important. Authority lives in our minds. It is built on cues, not commands. So, how do you build that aura for yourself? How do you become the person others trust, follow, and respect? Start with knowledge. Nothing replaces real understanding. People sense when you know what you are talking about. But knowledge alone is not enough. You need to show you know. Speak clearly. Stand tall. Avoid weak phrases like, I think, or maybe. Instead, say, the facts show, or experience tells us. This shift changes how people see you. Next, use symbols, titles, degrees, uniforms, certifications, a suit, a podium, a mic. All of these send a message. They say, I am credible. When someone wears a doctor's coat, people listen. When someone stands at a podium, people assume authority. These symbols matter more than we think. But do not fake it. Real authority grows from integrity. People will trust you if your actions match your words. They watch how you behave. If you break promises or act unethically, they walk away. One of the fastest ways to grow credibility is through social proof. If others believe in you, more people will follow. Share testimonials. Showcase who has worked with you. Let others speak for your value. Even on social media, this works. A large following, verified badges, endorsements. All these act as shortcuts for trust. People think, if others follow, I should too. Voice also matters deeply. Speak slow. Use pauses. Let your words carry weight. Confidence is not about volume. It is about calm control. A quiet, steady voice often holds more power than loud shouting. Now think about body language. Eye contact, open posture, firm but relaxed stance. These speak louder than words. You could say the right thing, but if your body shows fear or doubt, people sense it. They stop trusting what you say. Authority is also about trust, and trust comes from consistency. If you show up every day, if you act the same way in public and private, if you treat others with respect, then your words will carry weight. There is no need to chase power. Focus instead on building reliability. Speak the truth. Own your mistakes. Be transparent when you do not know something. This kind of honesty builds long-term credibility. People follow those they feel safe with, not just those who shout the loudest. Remember, you do not need permission to lead. You need clarity and confidence. If you act like someone who deserves to be heard, people will listen. Look at history. Leaders who shaped movements often had no title at first, but they had vision. They believed what they said, and they carried themselves with purpose. That is the kind of authority that cannot be faked. It is earned, not demanded. In the world of influence, people want to feel secure. They want to follow someone who knows the way. Be that guide. Use your tone. Use your posture. Use your track record. And most of all, use your truth. When you master the art of showing authority, not forcing it, you become magnetic. People lean in. They trust you. They follow you, not because they have to, but because they believe in what you say. That is real influence. That is power with purpose. And that is how you become someone worth following. Section 8, becoming a master of influence, combining ethics, skill, and strategy. Influence is not just a tactic. It is not a one-time skill. It is a mindset, a way of moving through the world that blends awareness, intention, and humanity. To truly master influence, you must first understand this. Real power does not come from controlling others. It comes from controlling yourself. Every word you say, every gesture, every pause, every emotion you bring into a conversation weaves together the fabric of your influence. And when you do this with care, you do not just convince others. You awaken something within them. Many people think persuasion is manipulation, but that is a shallow view. Persuasion, when done with integrity, becomes leadership. It becomes guidance. You are not forcing people. You are showing them what they already feel, but have not yet said. You are giving them the courage to act on what they already want. This is the difference between short-term wins and long-lasting impact. Anyone can trick someone into saying yes, but only a master can create agreement that lasts. Only a master can lead people to a place where they feel stronger, not smaller. To master influence, 3 elements must live inside you: ethics, skill, and strategy. Ethics first. If your influence does not begin with ethics, it is just manipulation in disguise. Ethics is not a side note. It is the core. Without it, every technique becomes hollow. It is easy to say the right words. It is much harder to mean them, and people feel the difference. When your goal is to help, not to take, people lean in. They listen with open hearts. They trust you, because trust is born from truth, and trust is the most powerful persuasion tool on earth. Next comes skill. You cannot fake mastery. You must study. You must practice. Influence is a craft. Just like a musician tunes their instrument, an influencer sharpens their voice, their listening, their presence. You learn to read the room. You learn to sense emotions behind words. You notice when someone is nodding but not agreeing. You speak less. You listen more. You wait until the exact moment, and then you speak the truth they have been waiting to hear. You study the techniques: framing, timing, storytelling, body language. You understand that silence can be louder than shouting. You use questions instead of commands. You plant ideas, not push them. You leave space for people to own the decision. Then comes strategy. Great influence is never random. It is planned. It is intentional. You must know your outcome, yes, but you must also know the person, their fears, their hopes, their values. You must map the emotional path from where they are to where they want to be. You do not manipulate that path. You guide it. You show them a future that excites them, that lifts them. And then you walk beside them until they believe it too. Sometimes influence means leading loudly. Sometimes it means stepping back and letting someone else speak. A true master knows the difference. They know that real strength is quiet. It does not need applause. The practice never ends. You do not arrive at mastery. Influence is a lifelong practice. It grows with you. Each conversation teaches you something. Each mistake sharpens your insight. Each win humbles you. Because with every person you influence, you are shaping lives. Let us be clear. Mastery does not mean perfection. It means consistency, showing up with intention, choosing clarity over control, choosing respect over results, choosing truth over tactics. You will be tested. People will try to manipulate you. They will use the same tools you are learning now. But when you have integrity, you cannot be shaken. You will recognize the games. You will smile and choose your words with care. Because you are not here to win the moment. You are here to win hearts. From manipulation to leadership. The world does not need more manipulators. It needs more leaders. Leaders who speak with honesty, who listen with presence, who influence not by force, but by trust. That is your path now. Not to use power, but to become it. When you master the art of influence, something shifts. You are no longer just a speaker. You become a mirror. People see their best selves reflected in your words. They rise because you believe in them. So remember this. Influence is not about changing people. It is about unlocking what is already inside them. It is not about being right. It is about being real. It is not about making people follow you. It is about walking with them towards something better. In the end, true influence leaves no fingerprints, no pressure, no push, just a quiet echo of empowerment. They walk away, and they think it was their idea all along. That is when, you have mastered the game. You have come far, from the unseen power of influence to the way emotion drives action, from the science of persuasion to the language of leadership. We explored how culture shapes your thoughts, how trust builds authority, and how strategy transforms words into power. This was not just a summary. It was a toolkit, a path, a mirror, because influence is not something you wait to be given. It is something you grow, you shape, you own. You now understand how the mind responds. You see what most people miss. You know that persuasion is not pressure, it is precision. Not control, but connection. You were born into influence. Every day, people and systems try to shape your thoughts. But now, you know how to shape them back. You are not just a product of your environment. You are its editor. The game of influence is already happening. The only question is, will you play, or will you be played? You have the tools. You have the knowledge. Now make your move. If this video opened your mind, like it, subscribe for more deep insights. Share it with someone who is ready to master their power. Your voice matters. Your presence matters. And your influence is just getting started.